Today we are doing frijoles negros.
Yes.
Black beans.
My fave. And we're using the real deal dried beans. Yes, you can use canned, but that's a different recipe on our blog.
This is the judgment-free zone.
Yes,
if you want to use canned beans, we're all for it. There's a whole recipe for it on abuelascounter.com. But today we're gonna walk you through like the traditional, fresh, from start to finish.
So these have been already rinsed and drained, and we pick apart and discard anything that looks kind of weird. So let's destapar that.
Meet the Instant Pot, which is our love language right now. I mean,
Christy made me obsessed with it.
I'm obsessed with the Instant Pot. It makes everything easier and actually makes everything more delicious.
So they go in just like that. If you don't do it this way, then you'd have to soak them, but the Instant Pot kind of takes that away. The pressure cooker takes that away. So I'm adding a whole onion, just throwing a whole onion in there, adding a bay leaf, and then we'll pressure cook it for 20 minutes. Perfect.
All right,
okay.
make sure it's sealed.
Seal it, we'll set it for 20 minutes, and then
we'll forget it for a little while.
All right, while that's in the pressure cooker and the beans are cooking, then we would start making our sofrito. So same process as always, onions first.
As with all things, sofrito is our foundation.
It's with beans that my grandmother taught me how to make sofrito and the why of doing everything like kind of step by step. So some olive oil, and then we'll add salt right away. And we'll also add
Sazon.
sazon.
You can find that recipe on Abuela's Counter. I will tell you guys every time.
So you can use this recipe, and then we have a separate recipe for if you want to make just canned black beans. Either one, it's very similar. This is kind of how I grew up with beans, that it's a little bit of a sweet, a little bit of a tangy kind of taste. But then there's another one that's just really about the beans and onions and vino seco. That's a different recipe on our blog.
Yeah, like my husband does not want sugar in his beans. Like
Neither does my husband.
Cannot stand it. They cannot stand it.
I know.
But the truth is, traditional Cuban beans had it.
A little bit of spice.
What is this?
So this is a serrano. Contrary to a jalapeno, which very similar, but a jalapeno is the more common pepper and it's a little bit of a fatter bulb. A serrano, you see how it's like longer, skinnier, pointier? I feel like the heat is a little bit better, so it's not just spicy. It also has a lot of different elements.
And we're throwing it in whole?
No, we're gonna slice it in half, but not yet. We want the onions to kind of develop and get a little flavor.
Beans cook through.
The onions have had a chance to cook through, and then now we'll add our peppers. And then we sliced our serrano in half lengthwise. We'll just add one piece, because if not, it'll be really spicy. We just wanted to have a flavor that's like, what is that? That's what that serrano gives.
And when you put the serrano in now at the beginning, it kind of helps like take the heat off.
Yeah, well, it's like a background flavor and not so much like, oh, this is spicy. I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil.
Yes, everything needs to move around.
Yes. For black beans, when my grandmother was teaching me how to make the black beans, I asked her, Alita, how much olive oil? And her response was, as much as the beans can hold. Just goes to show it's supposed to have a lot of oil.
So our peppers and our onions have all cooked down. So now we're moving everything to the side like always, putting the garlic so that we can make sure it cooks nice and even.
Okay, perfect. We'll let that saute. Right about this time, the beans, if you are doing them in a pressure cooker, should be ready. If you are boiling them, they'll still take a while, but I think it's a good time to check on the beans.
All right, so the beans are done, but how do we know they're done?
Okay, so pretty much 20 minutes in the Instant Pot,
they're gonna be done.
Is pretty good for almost every bean except for garbanzo, a chickpea. But how do we know they're done? What do they look like? They look like a canned bean, right? So that's what you want to look for. The bean is still completely intact.
And it's
right?
soft.
So it's like a whole frijol, but it's totally soft. You can eat it. Now, remember, we never boil beans, pressure cook beans with salt inside because it tends to keep the outside very, very hard, and then the inside becomes mush.
That's so important. Like no salt.
No salt. So now we would salt it, because if we don't salt it, it's gonna take us so much salt throughout the recipe to get it to the point where we want it.
Hold on, I'm just gonna move my garlic.
Yeah, let that kind of move and saute, and then a good amount of salt. But
Salt
this is
daddy.
for like a lot of people, you know? And then I would even say like taste it, right? Make sure that they taste good. If they taste good, the end product of the frijoles are gonna taste good. The onion that we put in there, if you guys can see, it just kind of
Melts down.
melts away. I leave it in there. I don't take it out. I don't take out the bay leaf either. I think it tastes delicious and it gives it a really good texture.
For someone who didn't have an Instant Pot and who's gonna soak this, how do they know that it's soaked and boiled enough? The same thing.
So if you soak it, you have to boil it. Soaking doesn't replace cooking the beans. So you soak it for X amount of time. Now, you can also choose not to soak it. That's okay too. You just are gonna end up boiling it for a lot longer. It's, I would say, about an hour and a half to 2 hours. The fresher the bean, the less time it takes to cook. So when you're getting your beans off of your shelf and you're cooking them that same day, they're gonna cook a lot quicker. On our website, we kind of go through the different ways that you would get to this point of a soft bean. Our beans are good. Let's throw the beans inside.
All right, ready?
Ready.
With the liquid and everything. We're going.
The whole shebang. Okay. Okay, now at this point, we are going to add in a little bit of vinegar.
How much vinegar?
Now, the exact measurements are on the blog, but we do say in the recipe time and time again, add less, you can always add more. The flavor continuously changes. And then I'm gonna also add a little sprinkle of sugar.
Which is apparently controversial.
I think the vinegar and the sugar are both controversial, especially at the end because you do taste them. But again, it does give a special little flavor to it, unlike other beans. So add that in there and then we're gonna let this cook down. We're gonna let it really reduce. I would say at this point, we would probably add more water just because this is how we want it to look in the end. But it's gonna take now time to reduce and everything. So let's start by adding a little bit more water and then we'll cook it down.
So we're gonna pour about a cup of water in and then we're gonna bring it to a boil.
Right, you see how it's like a little bit too watery? But that's okay because it's gonna have a chance to cook down. We're gonna add a bay leaf in there. We're gonna let it come to a boil and then we're gonna let it simmer.
How long are we simmering?
I would say at least 20, 30 minutes, just so it gets really good flavor. Woo. Frijol facial.
Gotta love it. Smells so good.
And this is exactly what we want to see.
We let it simmer for about like 30 minutes, almost 40.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on how you like them. I like them just like this. They're a little bit, you know,
Little
liquidy,
saucy.
Definitely need some rice to soak it all up.
That's the theme of the series, I think. Where's the white rice?
Where's the white rice? Okay, we would add a little bit of parsley and then we could taste it. Now, frijoles is something that it does cook, right? Fresh frijoles take a while to cook. So you're tasting as you're going. So we didn't just leave it in the corner of the burner for 20 minutes. You know, you look at it, you taste it. What does it need? Does it need more of the vinegar? Does it need more of the sugar? Does it need more salt? All those things. We have hot sauce here. We can also add the hot sauce to it. I like leaving it without, and then I'll add it like to my husband's plate, who loves that spicy kick, but my kids don't really want it at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Done.
We have fresh black beans.
Yes. So we know it's a lot of work, but this is the kind of thing that we would make a really, really big batch of. We may be one too many, but we would make a really big batch.
I probably use canned.
And I would leave it in my freezer, zip it up, and then you have fresh beans all throughout. I would probably put in the pressure cooker 3 pounds instead of 1. And then that way I make, you know, just a huge, huge batch. I have it that night, I have it another day for the following week, and then I freeze a bunch of portions.
I just made this for Nochebuena, pretty much. Like I probably just do this like on a big occasion.
Like a special occasion.
Like go through all of this or whatever. Because it is a different result. It's delicious. You can taste like all the work that goes into it. You can taste all the levels and the layers.
You could see like the frijol is, I don't know, a different texture and different flavor. And it's healthier, it's just much more wholesome, which, you know, we're all trying to eat that way these days.
Where's the rice? All right, ready?
All right. Ching ching.